Hi, it's Steve Malzberg, and coming up on this hour of the Steve Malzberg Show, Congressman Blake Farenthold, Republican from Texas, House Oversight Committee member, House Judiciary Committee member. We'll talk IRS. We'll talk Benghazi. He's just out of the hearings on Benghazi with new breaking news on that. And we'll also talk about the proposed Comcast merger, which he's very much up on. The Malzberg panel, once again, economist and professor at the University of Maryland, Peter Marisi, and radio host and author Kevin Jackson will be here. David Horowitz, founder and president of the think tank, the David Horowitz Freedom Center, and editor of Front Page Magazine. All that, Gimme 5 and more on this hour of the Steve Malzberg Show.
Ready? Fire away. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Broadcasting live from the Newsmax studio in New York City. A fusion of politics, commentary, entertainment, and sports. Steve and his team bring you the latest news and opinion now. Here is Steve Malzberg.
This document was not about Benghazi.
It was her prep for the Sunday
It wasn't her only prep, John. She relied on for her answers on Benghazi on the document prepared by the CIA, as did members of Congress. We, the White House rather, and others involved in her prep, said when it comes to Benghazi, there's been a document prepared by the IC so that everybody is working off the same information. Republicans in Congress, Democrats in Congress, administration officials. This is what we know and what we are able to say about Benghazi at this time, and that's what she got.
All right, folks, there you go. Jay Carney yesterday tap dancing his way around what many say is the truth. And joining us now is Congressman Blake Farenthold. We welcome him back, Republican from the great state of Texas, member of the House Oversight Committee and Judiciary Committees. And Congressman, before we get to the hearing you just came out of in the Oversight Committee, where you heard more really blockbuster testimony regarding Benghazi, we had the chief investigator for Judicial Watch on yesterday, right after Carney made this statement saying that email, the smoking gun, if you will, was not about Benghazi. And he said blatantly, Jay Carney is a liar. What's your take on this White House spin?
Listen, it's nothing but spin, and you go back to if you like your insurance, you can keep it. I don't think the truth necessarily gets in their way over there on Pennsylvania Avenue.
Right, yeah, well, okay. So now, what did you hear today from retired Brigadier General Robert Lovell, who at the time of the attacks was the intelligence director at AFRICOM?
I tell you, the thing that struck me most about the testimony was here was a man who was on the front lines who felt compelled to come forward to Congress because he was so disappointed in the way his government, our government, handled the situation. It's absolutely shameful. We've investigated embassy security in the Government Oversight and Reform Committee. The keys to it are the ability of the host country to provide security and the willingness of the host country to provide security. When you've got a country in transition like Libya was at the time, they do not have the ability nor the will to provide embassy security. We should have stepped up the game. And they were pleading for help in Benghazi, and I think for political considerations, the answer was no.
Well, he said two very important things today, and correct me if I'm wrong, and fill me in if there's anything else. He said that we should have tried to help the Americans who were under attack in Benghazi. Number one, let's address that. And he specifically said to Jason Chaffetz was questioning him and said, "Did you ever think it was a video?" He said, "No, sir." And he thought right off the bat it was an offshoot of Al Qaeda.
No, the men and women in uniform that serve this country, they're trained to run towards the gunfire. And they were ready, willing, and I think able to do that. They certainly could have put people in the air headed towards Benghazi, and for whatever reason, if they needed to be recalled, they could have been recalled. But we didn't even start to send help.
No, we did nothing.
And as an American, it bothers me that we can't respond to a situation like that anywhere in the world in a matter of hours.
Well, what about the email yesterday and how it relates to the testimony today? Here again, we have someone else on the ground, real time, who never even thought it was this video. The CIA, Morell, the acting CIA director at the time, testified to Congress a couple of weeks ago that when he heard Susan Rice talk about a video, he was shocked because this video never came from the CIA. Yet Jay Carney yesterday saying, well, it wasn't only the White House that gave her talking points, it was the CIA. Well, the CIA had said they said nothing about that. I mean, is the White House responsible, in your view, based on what you know today, for putting the video in the talking points and telling Susan Rice to run with it?
It sure looks that way. Here's the deal. You've got to remember where we were at the time. We were September 11th. We were coming up to a presidential election, and one of the themes was we got bin Laden, al-Qaeda's on the run. A terrorist attack that resulted in the deaths of Americans, which is what happened in Benghazi, would not have been good for the president's re-election game. There's your motive. And now we're starting to find the evidence with these emails.
So would you say that the word invented, the video, is a reason, would be a fair word?
You know, I think they were looking for something.
Yeah. Yeah, very, very interesting. All right, let's move now to issue number 2, and that is the IRS scandal. And by the way, one further question on this. You know, to their credit, CNN has done some coverage of this. CBS, whose brother who's the head of their news division. It's his brother who wrote the email in question. They did something on this. But of course, MSNBC and NBC and some of the others are mocking it. Do you think, I mean, where do you think this is going to lead now based on what we know about Benghazi? What's next?
I have a problem with the media and the pass that they've given the Obama administration. But at some point, they have got to do their jobs and report. And I guarantee you, reporters don't like being lied to or misled any more than you or I do. And you know, I thought the Obama love affair with the media was going to end when they started. The NSA was surveilling journalists, but maybe this will be it.
Well, let's see. All right, Lois Lerner's lawyer, from what I understand, wants to address Congress.
Unprecedented.
Yeah. So what? Tell me what that is all about.
Well, listen. He's concerned that she's going to be held in criminal contempt. Now, I don't think Eric Holder will pursue it, but that's a whole other can of worms with Eric Holder. Her lawyer had the opportunity to request immunity, offer a proffer of testimony. There was a lot that could have been done in the Government Oversight and Reform Committee, but instead he advises his client to go up and make factual allegations, which resulted in her waiving her Fifth Amendment rights. And then she refused to answer questions and testify. We voted articles of contempt out of the Government Oversight and Reform Committee. I suspect they'll come to the floor next week, and I suspect they'll pass the House. And she's going to have to face the music. Now, she's still got the opportunity to come testify and answer the questions.
Yeah, well, yeah, absolutely. So are you planning on, do you believe that he will be given the opportunity to?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, and because of what you just alluded to, he had his chance, basically?
They had their opportunity.
I mean, he could write a letter to the committee and make a proposal, correct?
Sure, but you know, okay, not many people watch that much C-SPAN, but have you ever seen a lawyer on the floor of the House of Representatives pleading their case for a client who's about to be held in contempt?
I don't know. I can't answer that. I guess I don't watch that much C-SPAN, but I hear what you're saying. So what you think he wants to do is offer a deal?
I think he wants to claim that she didn't waive her Fifth Amendment rights.
Oh, okay.
Now I don't know that for a fact, but if I were speculating, that would be the argument that I would think he would be making.
And of course, the belief that she waived her Fifth Amendment rights.
And you see, in Congress, that's what the committee process is for: gathering testimony and evidence. That there's a system in place for dealing with that.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And of course,
as well as numerous opportunities for her attorney to work with the committee staff in a not necessarily in front of the committee, to work out a deal that they would recommend to the committee that we would probably take, if it was a reasonable deal.
And of course, this all stems from the fact that she made an opening statement denying any culpability, denying any wrongdoing, and then
17 factual statements.
So,
you can't go out and make factual statements and not subject yourself to cross-examination.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, now on the Judiciary Committee, I know that there's a topic of conversation and something that you're very familiar with, and Comcast is seeking to merge with Time Warner, Netflix, and others. And, some say that this will hurt competition. There are some conservative groups and conservatives who are worried that Comcast, with its, liberal bent, MSNBC, NBC News, will then dominate the cable industry. Do you have, any concerns about this as you conduct hearings?
I'm concerned about the politics of it, but you can't make decisions like that based on politics. I mean, that's just not right. You can't not approve a merger because you don't like the company's politics. That's just not right. The issue is, is it going to create a monopoly? Well, Time Warner and Comcast don't compete in any markets, or maybe very few markets. So it's either one or the other. My concern with it from a policy standpoint is the barrier for entry to new stations getting on the cable. If I were to leave Congress and want to start Farenthold TV, it'd be very difficult. The fewer players there are, the fewer the opportunities to build a big enough audience to get on. You add to that the fact that the networks own so many stations, and so it's part of the deal to put CBS, NBC, or ABC affiliates on.
Right.
Well, you've got to take Bravo, and you've got to take the Disney Channel, and all of that. So from a policy standpoint, you can't disapprove it because you don't like their politics, but you certainly can be concerned about it. But again, as a conservative, the government needs to get out of the private sector's way, and I don't think we ought to stand in the way of this merger, even though I do have some concerns about it.
All right. Congressman, always great to talk to you, sir. Thank you very much. We appreciate your time.
Thanks.
Congressman Farenthold, ladies and gentlemen. Farenthold, I should say. Congressman Blake Farenthold, Republican from Texas. Busy man on two key committees with lots of issues on the Steve Malzberg Show. The panel's next.